All right, so what we're doing is we're going to look at this, which is basically like a practice test. And I'm going to let you do the rest of the packet to practice on your own because I want to talk about the different types of questions. So on it says number 12, which of the following is equivalent to the ratio of 3 to 7? Select all that apply. Normally, when they want you to select more than one answer, instead of circles, they're going to have squares because they want them to look like little check boxes. Check off, check off, check off. So let's look at all of our possibilities here. So the first one has a fraction 6 to 14. So would that be equivalent to 3 to 7? Yes, because I just take this times 2 and this times 2. So we can check that off, or you can fill it in. If this were digital, you would just click on it. But they're supposed to look like check boxes when you're doing more than one. Okay, what about 7 to 3? Is that equivalent? No. Why is it not equivalent? Yeah, they switched the orders, so that's not what we want. Okay, what about 21 to 56? No. So when I look at it, 3 to 21 would be multiplying by 7, and then if I took 7 times 7, I should get 49. So that one doesn't work. What about 24 56? What do you think? Yeah? What would I multiply by? 8. Multiply both of these by 8, so that one does work. And then 60 for every 140. What would we multiply by to get that one? So from 3 to 60, 20. So that one works also. So there's 3 answers. Good. So when you want to pay attention to directions, this was not multiple choice. It was not select one. It was select all that apply. Okay, so over here it says Mari works 25 hours and makes $200. Complete the rate table using the numbers on the tiles. Now this is one thing that I was not able to put into my online test. So you guys will have to be able to fill out the table without having numbers. So I'm just going to ignore that part for right now. I'm actually going to cover these up with sticky notes. You can if you want to. Now, when you guys do CMAS, I think you might have a click and drag situation. I'm not able to create those on my Google tests, but we'll talk about how to fill this in, and then we'll talk about the tiles in a second. So it says Mari works 25 hours and makes $200. If we look at the table, they actually have that. 25 is under hours, and 200 is under the dollars. Complete the rate table using the numbers on the tiles. So they have 25 and 200, and they've actually been really nice to us. They have 1 and 8. So we already know what the unit rate is. She's making $8 for every 1 hour. So that's a unit rate. And that can help us do a lot of things. Because if she's making $8 per hour and we come down here and she works 5 hours, how would I figure out what her pay is? Shay. Okay, but do you want to tell me? So if I'm going from 1 to 5, I would go from 8 to what? We know it's, actually, let's not look at that. Let's look at it's $8 per hour. So if I'm working 5 hours at $8 per hour, how much money would I make? You don't know? Okay, go ahead.
You would make $40.
You would make $40. And tell me how. Okay, so basically to go from here to here, we're multiplying by 8. So what if I have to go backwards? What if I have to go from $120 to how many hours? What would I do? Divide by 8. Good. I think that's what he was trying to say.
Yes.
So if I'm taking 120 and dividing by 8, if I don't have a calculator, I'd do that out here to the side. So 8 does not go into 1, but it goes into 12 just one time. 1 times 8 is 8. Subtract 12 minus 8 is 4. Bring down the 0. 8 goes into 40 5 times, and then 5 times 8 is 40. So it's 15. So then I could put 15 in here. And if I did have a calculator, then I would just do 120 divided by 8. It would be easy. Okay, so now down here, this is tricky. They have $1. And I'm still going this direction, so I'm going to want to divide by 8. Now, $1 divided by 8 is a little tricky. I am going to let you use a calculator so you don't have to do the long division. It is 1/8, so you could just write 1/8 of an hour in here, and that would be correct. If I wanted a decimal, here's a little trick. On your calculator, do 1 divided by 8. Have you noticed that these put in a fraction bar when you're dividing? Guess what? That's a fast way to change a fraction to a decimal. And we get 0.125. So either of those would be an acceptable answer. 1/8 I think is great because then that's exact. We didn't round anything. But you could also, since we said we were dividing by 8, you could think of it as 1 divided by 8, get the decimal. So you want to make sure that when you're doing a table like this that you are figuring out what the relationship is. And if you get one of your unit rates, that usually makes it easier. Now, if this was on your CMAS, they might have answers like this that you can click and drag. So this 1/8 would go down here, the 15 would go there, the 40 would go here, and that's it. And so they weren't using all of them, they just gave you choices. Okay? Sometimes I think that's more confusing than just looking at the table. Now, on the test that I'm going to give you, I don't even have a way for you to put numbers in the tables, so I just left a text box, and you get to explain to me, well, for 5 hours it would be $40, and for $120 it would be 15 hours. And then, if that's hard to do, we'll have the option to do paper after you do the other. I just like to practice it online just so we get used to that format. Okay, so let's come down here. And these are supposed to look like pull downs. I think they're kind of strange. It says circle the correct unit rate for each situation. Sandy drives 420 miles in 7 hours. And I look, it's in miles per hour. This means I'm going to take the 420 miles and divide by 7 hours. So if I have a calculator, that's pretty straightforward. 420 divided by 7, and we get 60. And so theoretically, we would pull this down and click on the 60. I don't know. I don't think it looks much like a pull down, but that's what that's supposed to represent. It's sort of a multiple choice. Pull downs are just a different way to do multiple choice. All right, so let's look at the next one. 4 bags of rice cost $7.20. $7.20. And so they have dollars in here per bag. So because they have dollars per bag, I know that I'm going to take the $7.20 and divide by the bags. So it's 4 bags up here, so I will divide by 4. So let's do that really quick. I'm going to get it where you can actually see my calculator. So 720 divided by 4 is 1.8. Now remember, in money, they always add a second decimal place, which would make it $1.80, which would be this one. And some of you, when you do your assignments, you just leave it 1.8. We need a dollar sign, and you need to add a 0 on there to make it 80 cents. So that's just something I've been trying to work on with you guys individually. But make sure that we have that second decimal place, because in the United States we always use two decimal places. Okay, and then there's just one more. So Joe needs a 0.25, a quarter of an hour, to tie 3 decorative bows. So they want to know bows per hour. So I'm going to put 3 for bows. Per means divide, and then it's hours, 0.25. So 3 divided by 0.25 is 12. So that's 12 bows per hour. Woohoo! So this is kind of what your test will be like.